as dumpster fire burns wild. Chaos shenanigans at every corner. Sarcasm, a holy sermon in style. Dark chocolate, melted chaos warmer. Fighting this timeline with snark. Every soul welcome, but no recorders. Baptized by laughter in the dark. We stand tall, scorning fake orders. In the church of law we rise, with chaos and shenanigans bright. Chocolate and sarcasm our rise. Together we light up the night.
I have to
Welcome,
ask
everyone.
Mo. I have to ask Mo before we get even do that.
Yeah.
So, how long ago were those videos of you with those blonde wigs?
So that was the first Adelson trial because I loved Donna because for some reason she just struck this very evil, very stereotypical Brooklyn Jewish mom like
Yeah.
verklempt to me. Now I don't even know if this woman has a Brooklyn accent. I have just made it up all in my head canon. But to be a self-righteous, sanctimonious C word, oh my God, it was so much fun. Thank you.
When did you make those videos? Just
So
curious.
probably a year ago, because it was before my room got destroyed, and I think
Okay. Because I
I
was
am.
gonna say you have lost some weight since then. You don't look as fluffy.
No, I am trying to deflate. God may never grant me abs. Thank you, my mini me 67 knickers.
No, I'm just saying that and it could just be the wig, but it made you look larger than you are.
No, it's very strange because I'll run into people I haven't seen in a while, and they'll be like, "What have you been doing?" But because I see my face all the time, I don't
Right.
notice things. So I'm just like, not
Nothing.
eating like a drunken frat boy.
There you go. There you go. But I
Although
just
I
happened to
say
notice
this
that
as
I
I
was
have a
like,
fig Newton on my desk.
no, I saw that and I was and I meant to say something last week. I was like, holy cow, Mo's like seriously lost some weight in the past, however long that was.
Yeah, I have had some help. It's harder for me to move around and I did use some medication help, but I've also been trying to move around more. Again, life is about balance. Only eat like an asshole one day, every fortnight.
So have you been like working out on the bag? Just
Some of it, I will say that this year, a lot of it, not healthily, not gonna lie. This has been a year that's kicked my ass. I don't know if it's the weather or what have you.
it's probably the
So,
weather.
yeah, so I will tell you and it's weird because it's like a switch flipped, but when I'm in pain now, I don't want to comfort eat, which is
Right.
confusing because now I just want to like rage stream.
Yep. That's the best thing to do. Just rage stream.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
I interrupted you. Your big intro.
oh
I'm sorry.
no, you are fine. No, you're adoring me and I'm great. Look at these clavicles. I haven't seen them in years. Oh my God. Clavicle action. Look, the cleavage is more near the knees. I'm more excited about the clavicles. Look, laugh. It swings in roundabouts, okay?
Oh, hey, everybody
As
over on Rumble side. Good to see you.
so what we're gonna do is Shizzy's found a document, but I have a couple of articles. Now,
Mhm.
I don't know what it says about me, and I'm sure a therapist would have a field day. But it warms something in the dark depths of my soul, like the deep innards of my inner, dark child. I really do think that my inner child connected too closely to my inner rage, because that she will cut a bitch. I'm just saying. Like she's funny as hell, but she is a see you next Tuesday. Okay, like here, I'll give you an example. So one day, like I have learned that you have to have balance. So like I'll have a pity party day, like where I'm just like, look, you've got the rest of the day. You can sit in bed, watch V for Vendetta, and pretend you know how to weld and chemistrology. Okay. But I was having a pity party today. Now, my inner voice, because she's always supportive in her own special way, was like, excuse me, tap, tap on the shoulder. And I'm like, yes, what? Would you like to help with this situation? She's like, so exactly what emo band are we going to use? And do we have to go into Hot Topic? Because I refuse to listen to Dashboard Confessional. So are we becoming totally emo? And do you realize the hairspray you will have to have? And I was like, man, you're funny, but you are such a cunt.
It's so true. I know
She's
that.
always there. Like, if I'm, see, this is why I never would have a cold or I would never be Jeff, because my mirror exercise is internalized and she is superhuman. She was born on Krypton. She only got stronger in the sun and raised by my mother suddenly strengthened her to superpowerness. I can make anything my fault. That's why I say Jeff has met his match. Like, I have lived with this my entire life. I was born with original sin. I believe everything is my fault. You cannot play this game. I am the Jedi Master. Like, Jeff comes to me and he realizes I'm Palpatine.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
see you have been following my plan. It's all coming to fruition. Let the hate flow. This is why I
Yes.
don't have power, because
Because
it
you
would not work.
abuse it.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes. I would abuse the ever-living hell out of a power. You have no idea. Well, someone who's getting abused, and I'm okay with it, Gen Pop Justice, and I helped. Teamwork makes the dream work, gentlemen. Idaho killer Brian Kohberger has complained to guards about inmate taunts with targets on his back, according to a report. He is next to Chad Dorkbell, so maybe they will both become translated beings, and the Ark of the Covenant, or the actual Ark, will come by right after Lori is transcended or transcendentalized, or God, maybe just taught calculus. I don't know. Shut that woman up. Now,
Oh,
Idaho student murderer Brian Kohberger is facing taunts from other inmates as he adjusts to his new life in prison, just weeks after receiving 4 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus another 10 years, according to a new report. It just makes my heart, it's like the end of The Grinch where his heart grew. And again, I'm not sure this is healthy, but as a recovering Catholic, I have learned to turn spite into energy.
and it is glorious energy, because I'm with it. I'm with you on this. Just like like,
See, they
oh,
can be rehabilitated. They are doing something for good. I say we add to their good behavior time. I'd be in there like, do it, do more.
do
Here's a
it.
kazoo and a recorder. Does anyone know Leonard Skinner?
You know, get his salty tears and add it to his soy. How's that? That'd be
Yeah.
fine.
The 30-year-old former Washington State University Criminology PhD student abruptly pled guilty to the murder of 4 undergrads at the nearby University of Idaho last month. Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonclaves, 21, Xana Carnoodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. Now, the deal allowed him to avoid the death penalty, which prosecutors said they intended to seek if the trial, had gone on. Now, according to the Idaho Department of Corrections, Kohberger is being housed in J Block. Well, I mean, it should have been K Block for frickin' Kubrick. I mean, if this man does, if they don't model the actor that does the remake of The Shining on this man, I don't know, that or
Well,
a real life Dale Gribble. I'm just saying,
maybe it'll be James Gunn that remakes it. But I think J Block is for jack off, isn't it? Something like that.
he seems so repressed that he probably like Red Dragon. His grandmama told him that, he would go blind and Jesus would cry. So he doesn't even touch it.
Yeah.
That's
And
my
that's why he has all
headcanon,
that
at
pent up
least.
for age.
Yeah. I mean, Jergens for humanity.
Jurgen's block. They need a little bit of hand lotion after they're done with him.
Yeah, J Block is a secure housing unit with individual cells, according to Idaho's Department of Corrections. Now, inmates there are typically high-risk prisoners and are limited to 1 hour of outdoor exercise a day. This vampire pale look, he and I have the same translucent. It's not going to bother him. He can't go out in the sun. We haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
And they get access to showers every other day. I really don't care. Now, J Block is a unit that can house up to 128 individuals and includes populations in the General Population Protective Custody, long-term restrictive housing, and death row, a spokesperson told Fox News Digital. Now, incarcerated individuals in long-term restrictive housing live in single-person cells and are moved in restraints and provided showers every other day, along with 1 hour of outdoor recreation daily. They do have access to religious services and communications through JPay.
Yep.
That sounds too much like J-Date, which then furthers the whole Illuminati, like they're all in charge.
Yes. Oh
Oh,
my
good
gosh.
Lord. Y'all, it's a high-paying day, so I'm going to be a little squirrely.
Oh yeah.
Just is what it is. Okay, so they can use JPay and place commissary orders. Now, in a related note to commissary orders, Steve Conclaves has been talking to Idaho legislators about making partial or all of a inmate's commissary money, earmarked for restitution, though Steve would be fine if it went to train and supply the firing squad, which I think would be great.
Yes. Yes.
I say approved. Madam President Mo, I would approve it. Like executive order number uno. Well, number
Yep.
12-ish. Not gonna lie. Look, I got a couple things I gotta do first,
Oh.
which is I need to dismantle every single DCF, organization and then rebuild it from the bottom up that makes it, actually protect children.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a nice thing. That'd be a nice thing. I would like to see that happen.
In theory, fit for purpose should be more for should be more governmental agencies than the NTSB, which is the only one I trust right now. Now, while the killer may be physically separated from other lifers, they are reportedly tormenting him to the point where he has complained to the prison manager about the abuse.
Oh, can I say something that might be a little dirty? It probably will be.
I'm
I
okay with
guarantee.
it. I'll allow it.
Oh, my pussy hurts. Seriously. And we used to say that to one of our old bandmates whenever he would start whining and crying because, we have to all share the same room. Oh, you guys are looking at my girlfriend's tits. Oh, she left me for one of you guys. Oh, I didn't know she was a hoe.
It's that latent hoitis that always gets you. It's like they're a carrier. It's like Raccoon City,
Yeah.
They had
And
the
then
virus within all the time.
worst part is you pull up Squid at that point in time. You're not a hoe, Squid. I'm
sorry,
standing for
Squid.
you. Good to
Now,
see
according to Chris McDonough, a former detective who is now with Cold Case Foundation, they're literally getting into the grate and yelling at him. Inmates are taking turns doing it. It's relentless. Gentlemen, teamwork makes the dream work. Make
Yes.
Mama Mo proud.
Yes, don't stop.
You can be rehabilitated and work for good. Now, the account, based on comments from an unnamed quote-unquote insider in touch with McDowell, alleges that other J-Block inmates have joined forces to make Kohberger's life a living hell in his cell. Again, not worried about it. In fact,
No.
it excites me. He'll talk dirty to me more.
Mo, put the jerkins down.
Both hands up. It's driving him crazy, he told the outlet. Inmates are torturing him day and night, almost all hours. It's taunting him through the vents in his cell. Now, the Pennsylvania native entered the Idaho prison with a target on his back. Experts previously told Fox News Digital that due to the notoriety of the crime and the callous selection of the victims, whom he had no ties to, I think he'll have a target on his back. PDF, space, files, and the like tend to get smashed. He'll be stereotyped as one of those people. Seth Ferrenti, a former most wanted fugitive turned documentarian, said after sentencing, when guys with big cases or who have headlines hit the compound, everyone knows. He had a recent project, Tortured Mind, which explores the
mental health
mental health
condition.
condition Kohberger will never have to worry about, called post-incarceration syndrome. Oh, everything's a mental health condition now.
There is no post-incarceration for him. The only post-incarceration for him is being pushing up daisies somewhere in a graveyard that has no name over it.
Well, so here's my issue with the whole mental health thing. We don't want it to be a stigma, then it can't be an excuse. You have to pick one or the other.
Right.
So I'm getting a bit tired, like, it shouldn't be a stigma. Oh, I'm sorry I was unable to function or be a reliable or, integral human. It's my mental illness. Now, which do you think causes more stigma?
Yeah, you deleting multiple people or you people taunting you for doing it until the end of your days. I mean, and it doesn't stop there, because whenever you're, after you've done push those daisies up and you're spending time with Lucifer, you will be tormented just as much. Get used to it. It should never end for you. You took the lives of 4 people. If you can't handle the stigma of that, oh well. There's a place that's reserved for you out. It's going to be your post-incarceration, because you should never, ever be able to leave.
Well, that's what he's like. He's like, I may have done a documentary about getting out after prison, but he's never going to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kohberger is reportedly complaining to the guards that he can't sleep amidst all the harassment. Cool. He's lucky it's only verbal right now, but what's going to make it a lot worse for him is that he's complaining. Keith Rove, a former prison pastor, told Fox News Digital, "You can't do that in prison. You stay silent and keep your mouth shut." Otherwise, Kohberger risks being labeled a rat or something like that, according to the Lighter Side of True Crime podcast. The problem with it is you have to fight back. Complaining to the guards is ratting, and they know they're getting under your skin, so they'll only ramp it up more. And this is just his reaction to verbal stuff. I have no doubt that he's contemplating shuffling off the mortal coil already, and he's not even a month in. He's losing controls. Most serial killers tend to be control freaks. Throw autism on top of that and the chaos inmates are causing him, it might make him lose his mind, and it's only going to get worse. Now, Kohberger, while not fitting the textbook definition of a serial killer, is still a mass killer who studied serial killers extensively as part of his graduate degree in criminology. Now, the killer is reputed to be lacking in social skills, illustrated by what his attorneys call a piercing stare. That is a Kubrick stare. He could have been in Apocalypse Now without possibly having a heart attack due to coke. Well, he was kind of addicted to that, wasn't he? It could have been a Kubrick film. I rest my point.
Well, and I wonder how much of that is actually true. He's reputed to be lacking in social skills, illustrated by what his attorneys call a piercing stare, and lack of social awareness in court filings. If he's lacking in social awareness, how has he gotten this far in life? I'm just saying, because I've known people that lack in social skills, but they can still be functioning, and they don't go all stabby on people.
No, and if we're going with the classic sort of, serial killer traits, they do have and are capable of a very superficial kind of mimicking of emotions. It's sort of like a glib charm. Now, I still don't understand what the hell everyone saw in Ted Bundy. He has a unibrow. Women, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, but you also have to understand at that point in time, women had like full body hair. I mean, it was, just
The
saying,
past is the worst.
it's just like, well, the women back in that time that Bundy was around, they had unibrows also and little mustaches, and they didn't shave their armpits, and they didn't they didn't do any female landscaping.
To be fair, Shizzy, I think I only saw Squeaky Frond with a shaved head when she was going after Reagan. Fair point.
True.
But she didn't say Catcher in the Rye told her to do it, which I thought was a mistake.
Yeah, true. Well, and
Well, I mean, at least she didn't do it for Jodie Foster.
Well, I'm so sick of hearing this. Oh, they have autism. Oh, really? Okay. What level of autism do you have? Well, they're on the spectrum. Where at on the spectrum? Can you point to it? Because if not, then I think you're full of shite. That doesn't give you an excuse to go delete people. Self-exploiting culture. Very historical. Well, because I don't. I mean, I know. We have a good friend of ours that is extremely autistic. He's nonverbal. And whenever he does speak, it's usually yelling. And he's getting into his teenage years. And there's something different that you can't explain, but he's still cognizant of whenever he's not supposed to do something. He just chooses not to listen to you, kind of thing. And so he's going to have, care for the rest of his life. Now, whenever you start talking about, well, Kohberger is autistic, it's just like, okay, so explain this to me. I understand that, maybe some of all of his neurons aren't quite firing, but I've known plenty of people like that don't go out and go stabby on people.
No, and that's the problem. That is where I worry that we are creating a stigma by allowing these things to become an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they can be sort of mitigating factors or an explanation to part of the why, or maybe
Right.
why, he has these very loose attachments with or lack of empathy. But that's not the case in all autistic people. That's not the case in most people.
Right. I think they're just using it as a bad excuse, and I don't like it.
Now, according to documents made public by the Moscow Police Department in Idaho, Kohberger also has a track record of bumping heads with fellow inmates. Now, on one occasion, Kohberger turned away from a video chat with his mother to snap at another inmate who yelled, "You suck," at a jailhouse television set. Now, another inmate described him as an effing weirdo. Truth, in the oddest places. Claimed he would have, taken him if he wasn't worried about repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another infamous J Block resident is fellow convicted killer Chad Dorkbell, who is on death row for the murders of his ex-wife Tammy. Not his ex-wife, his wife. Come on, Fox News
I guess
Digital.
you would be his ex-wife, seeing that she's no longer alive.
But you would write that as his late wife.
Yeah.
Not his ex-wife, which is where I always get confused because my first husband's parents, I finally just started calling them my outlaws because it's like, it just, not out of disrespect, but just like, what the hell am I, like, this is a 10-minute story if I actually get into what they are. So I'm like, they're just my outlaws. They're good people, but they're outlaws.
Exactly. Exactly.
So he's there for, Tammy and the two children. Those are the murders that he has been, or at least convicted of. Now, there's no indication whether Daybell may have been involved in any of the harassment for Kohberger. Oh my God, could you imagine Chad like, "You're such a terrible person, come to the light. I know Jesus. I'll portal you over here. Have you heard the good news?" And Kohberger's like, "Please just keep taunting me. Can anyone just call me a cockholster? Please, somebody."
I'd make sure he had a giant stuffed goose to keep him company. Yeah, I bet you would. Man,
I wish
what?
you were in there with a live goose. Those bastards are mean.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd pay to see that. Vote for Mo 2028. Inmates in wild geese chase. It won't be the running of the bulls. It'll be the running of the geese.
And it's funny thing that you have a goose right below that, which says deals you may like. The 15
Skynet has
weirdest
taken
things.
over.
It's a giant goose. Gosh.
I'll have to keep that for Friday, the weirdest things that you can buy.
On Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's all for this one. And then the other article I had pulled was it looks like some of the experts that were going to be brought by the state are speaking out. So Brian Kohberger, prepared for the Idaho Murders, expert set to testify, said he didn't just Google these cases.
Right.
Before DNA, before the arrest, before his name was ever made public, Brian Kohberger was already preparing to kill. Two digital forensics experts tell Andrea Cavalier what they discovered by digging through his phone. If they say infotainment, Shizzy, I'm throwing my computer and I'm walking away.
What in the hell? Okay. So I'm curious. Repeat what exactly it was you just said over that before you said this about the two experts.
So two experts tell Andrea Cavalier what they discovered by digging through his phone.
Okay, what qualifies them as experts? Just curious, do they work together?
Well, I haven't read the article, so that's why.
Okay.
Allegedly, from the article, these are supposed to be the experts that the state, kind of has the foundation on.
Now, I just got to ask, is this the same kind of expert that swore up and down that this guy that signed off on this deletion of what was her name? JonBenet Ramsey, that same kind of expert where they got TV internet fame and then turns out that they were full of garbage? That kind of expert? Is that what we're talking about?
The level of experts in the Karen Reed case, one can only hope not.
God. Oh,
Let's see. Oh, it's like a story, y'all. At 2:54 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, Brian Kohberger's phone went dark. Now, the battery hadn't died. It wasn't randomly powered off. It was silenced with precision. Wi-Fi and digital or cellular data were disabled. No location tracking on, no background activity. A deliberate blackout during the exact window prosecutors say he did the murder in the off-campus home. Now, 2 hours later at 4:48 a.m., the phone turned back on. It would be months before investigators fully understood what that gap in activity meant.
No, it would be months later before they ever even looked at it. Because
because they didn't know who he was.
Exactly. It's not like all of a sudden that became a big deal. It was like, no, once you go, hindsight is 2020. You can't stop deletions before they happen. That's it. You don't have Minority Report. We don't live in that world. You can't stop somebody from doing something. You can maybe prevent something from happening, but you can't stop somebody from doing something. It's not going to happen because, it's like trying to jail somebody before they actually do something. That's not how it works. You have to actually commit the crime before you do the time.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where we have traded the ability to mete out justice instantly for the assurance of due process that we're meting out justice fairly and
to the right person.
Yeah. That being said, sometimes I think we all just need a huckleberry. And Shizzy, I figured out my slogan for 2028. Well, one of many, but I think this one's a good one. We're here from the government to do 10% of a half-assed job, just the tip. 2028.
Is this a circumcised tip or no?
It's for all people, Gentile and Jew, Prince Albert, non,
Prince Albert,
Manscaped or Grizzly Bear.
Grizzly Bear.
Is that a gerbil?
Oh my Gosh. So 2 hours later, it turned back on. It'd be months.
Yeah, so there we go. Let's see. Digital experts or digital forensic experts tasked by prosecutors with retracing Kohberger's steps for evidence to be used against him at trial. The silence to them spoke volumes. What we learned is he prepared Heather Barnhart, senior director at forensic research at Celebrite. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh,
Well, at least isn't Ian Whiffen.
right.
Barnhart and her colleague, Jared Barnhart, are
Okay. So
is
this
this
is
heart and heart?
yeah, this is, and this is what I suspected. It was a couple trying to make a name for themselves and sell a product. Sorry, I read these kinds of things, and whenever I hear them, I'm like, oh, okay, you're just trying to promote Cellbrite, because I bet you anything that they're high up in Cellbrite, and they're a married couple,
Well,
and they
they're
worked
head
on
of
this together.
CX strategy, so I don't assume you get to the head of something without being a little, seniorish.
Well, head of CX strategy and advocacy at Cellbrite, so they're advocates of Cellbrite.
Oh, yeah. No, let me see if. Okay, the Cellbrite team uncovered files that were scrubbed from devices, searched through VPNs and deep downloads about serial killers, all of which they said painted a chilling picture of obsession and planning. Holy fuck, I hope they don't look at my history.
Yeah, because you wouldn't believe what I'm obsessed over.
I mean, at least it's not Hummel dolls. Those things are a little creepy to me. Or the Precious Moments. Look, I know people find them really cute. They always look really creepy
They
to
do.
me.
They do. They do creep me out too.
Let's see here. Forensic analysis revealed that Kohberger's phone had only 4 periods of total inactivity dating back to June 2022. Now, one of those silent moments occurred on the nights of the murders. It didn't just lose signal or run out of battery, Jared explained. This was an actual button press, power off on purpose, then a power back on 2 hours later. Now, in the middle of that, 4 people were killed.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
because he powered off his phone before doesn't mean anything, or that he
well,
powered off his
no.
phone at that point in time. And I'm not playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying that there's a possibility, there's a good reason why he powered off his phone. Maybe he just
Maybe he
didn't
was
want to.
cheating. It's
Maybe he was just like, you know what, I just need to disconnect. Especially, if they're saying he's autistic, there's a possibility that he might have been thinking, oh, this thing is just causing me all kinds of stress. And he turned the thing off. And it just so happened to be that was one of those times that he turned the thing off. We don't know, because we don't have any
well,
reasoning behind what he did.
and here's the problem with this. So they look through, because he's a criminology student, the digital forensics team decided that his interest, his kind of, studying of all these cases, crossed the line from academic to obsessive. Who are they to get that? Wouldn't you need a forensic person or a forensic psychologist or psychiatrist
Yeah.
to, kind of say, these are obsessive, this is weird, versus he's researching things for a paper? I mean, this is not as damning as I thought it was going to be.
No, these people are just clout chasers. And that's why I was asking you, so what makes them actual experts? So they're experts in cell phone data. That's it. And for them to come out and say this kind of stuff, it is like, okay, these are the kind of people that make other people question the validity of experts. And they should shut their cake holes, or how do you call it? Cock holsters. They should shut those things up and put their thoughts. You're not, and this is why true crimers piss me off so much, where they want to go out there and say, well, it had to be this because this happened. It's like, all right, put down the red string, go out, touch grass, because you're reading too much into something. And if you're claiming to be one of these experts in this kind of stuff, you're not. It's the same way of people talking about that there might be a hit out on somebody. It's like, that's not how it works. Let's put it this way. If the internet found out that you might have a hit out on somebody, most likely they don't have a hit out on them, because authorities would have found this out before you did. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, granted, there might be like one time in a conspiracy where the internet weirdo in the basement found something before the FBI.
Right. But
That being said, going along with 10% of a half-assed job, they might not catch it even then.
exactly.
But here is an interesting fact. So he did know enough because turning off your phone isn't enough. You have to disable the Wi-Fi, the cellular, and then power down. I think that's an important nugget. I don't really care about when he turned it down off, but this does indicate that he was aware of what he needed to do or looked it up. Okay, he also failed to do a full cleanup of his phone, like Steven Stern, although that doesn't really work. So you have to use bleach bit, uh, or as Hillary Clinton says, a hammer.
A hammer? Microwave? Anybody? Is okay, so this is the thing. He failed to do a cleanup of his phone. Details of what the team found, including scrubbed files, private browsing, VPN activity, and obsessive downloads about other serial killers were found hidden deep in his phone. Not in a visible gallery or standard folder, but buried in files, directories that required forensic tools to uncover. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's what they're trying to say is, oh, that you got some secret places in your phone where you can hide things. No, they went searching for something and they probably found it. Manscaped, please. Loose hairs are the worst. Yes. Well, and because here's the thing, if you did a deep dive in my phone, who knows what the hell you would find, because I don't file anything in some sort of deep, dark place. It's like right there. I mean, you know,
No, although I would like to know what people think of Somebody Solve a Problem Like Maria, my play on Letitia Stalk calling herself Maria in one of her disassociative states.
yeah.
Now, Maria was a KGB spy from Cuba, as happens.
I'm just saying that you would be surprised the kind of stuff that you look up without even thinking you're looking things up, you know, and the best description of this, you're watching us talking about this right now, and I guarantee your phone's hearing this and it's learning from you, and it's saying, oh, next time he opens up Google, we're going to show something on Kohberger or some crap like that. And you know, him being a serial killer, just using this as an example, he could be sitting there in class and scrolling through stuff and just doing a search on Charles Manson or, you know, Daybell or whomever. He could be just, you know, scrolling through and see something that piques his interest, a story. And that's not confirmation of this. Just saying. It's,
No,
mm,
I mean, again, this is exactly what Shizzy said. I mean, again, this is why I had such a visceral dislike of that former mentor teacher. I was hoping that because it said from the prosecutors, they would be a little more grounded, but I think we'll actually get more information out of just the documentation rather than this, because honestly, it's just going over old facts. And
yeah.
again, the digital forensic people can't decide whether his downloads of serial killer information as a criminology student were obsessive or not.
Yeah, of course, they're digital forensics. They're not psychological forensics or MEs. You know, they're not. These people are aggravating, and all this is just to try to get some clout on the internet or on, you know, on news stations to sell their stuff. Well, and this right here is a statement of Brett Payne. Now, Brett Payne is a duly appointed qualified acting peace officer within the county of, I'm guessing that's Latah, state of,
Latah?
yeah,
I don't,
Latah, maybe it's Laha, I don't know. State of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by Corporal Payne. That's hilarious. Wait until he becomes Captain Payne. And being assisted by members.
He needs to become Major Payne. That's a great movie. If you're having a bad day, watch it. Look, it should have won an Emmy. Look,
It should
when
have.
I am president, the actual movies will win that are good, you know. Freaking
He's
Major
been,
Payne
oh,
and
yeah.
Hot Shots Part Duh.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious. On November 13, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blacker, not Whiter, but Blacker, I responded to 122 King Moscow Road, Idaho, thereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Ohio State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers of the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. Officer Smith and I entered King Road residence, and basically it just says that they went through, approached the room, could see a body, later identified as Kernoodles. Kernoodle was deceased with wounds. Some of these I'm skipping over because it's a little gruesome. They followed him up to the 3rd floor, learned from there was a dog in the room. We've already heard all of this. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping over because we don't need to hear
Oh
all the
no, you're
gruesomeness.
fine.
Conclaves were okay. Here's where we get to the important stuff. This is what I was looking at. It was based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of the evidence. I've learned the following. On the evening of November 12, 2022, Chapin and Canoodle seen by BF at the Sigma Chi House at University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. BF also estimated that approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin Canoodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live at the King Road residence but was a guest of Canoodle. Gonclaves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club at Wayne Street in Moscow. Gonclaves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by Corner Club between 10 p.m. November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30, Gonclaves and Mogan can be seen on the video at a local food vendor called The Grub Truck at 318 Main Street. Grub Truck's live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. The video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, Blank, reported that he provided a ride to Gonclaves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. That's a big window of time, 2 to 4. That's a party. This is with
Well,
the
but you know
exception.
how like when you get off of a stream on Friday and you can't really relax at first, so it takes you about another hour to
Yeah.
calm down and actually get to sleep. So I could imagine it's something like that.
And they're probably just up and giggling. This is a Friday night party time. You're going to sleep in on Saturday anyway. At least by the rooms by 4 a.m. This was the exception. Canoodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. So the DoorDash driver came out and said it. You want to take over for a little bit?
Yeah, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonclaves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, DM said she heard what she thought was Gonclaves saying something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from forensic download of Kernoodle's phone showed that this could have also been Kernoodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using TikTok at approximately 4:12 a.m. Now, DM stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernoodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately northwest of 1122. Okay, sorry, dyslexia. I'm like, no, they're the same number. What are we doing? Picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times at 4:17. A security camera less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernoodle's room. Now, DM stated she opened the door a third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, not very muscular, but athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood, quote, in a frozen shock phase, end quote. Now, the male walked toward the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
He wasn't there when you got there, so yes, he left the scene.
Yeah, that's pretty. Your notes of observation are very clear, Sherlock.
This is why I wouldn't be a good cop, because they'd be like, and he was not there. Yes, we're putting out a warrant for his arrest. We obviously haven't captured him. Damn it, Batman.
The combination of DM statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads from records of BF and DM's phone, the video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. It's a 25-minute window. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test, then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the patterns of a Vans-type shoe sole just outside the door of DM's bedroom located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours in the areas of King Road.
How stupid is Brian Kohberger?
He's not.
Yes, he is. He was going to use a very, very, again, messy weapon. He wore shoes that were completely identifiable. He didn't think this through. Oh my gosh, he's the most dumb person I've ever met. He's the smartest dumb person.
Well, and that's the thing is most people that do these things, they actually are quite smart, but they don't use common sense. Hey, boss lady. I mean, and that's the biggest problem. They lack in common sense. Like you'll find that, you know, who's the guy that grew out his fingernails and peed in his containers.
Howard Hughes?
Yeah. Now,
my personal hero, the ultimate inside cat.
Yeah. That dude was absolutely brilliant and a maniac, but completely off his rocker.
Thought you'd appreciate that one.
Well, but usually they're lacking common sense. Like they will lack, certain social skills, but it doesn't mean that they're not stupid. They just they don't think all these things through. They don't use common sense.
Yeah, it just, again, you would have to think that he has been planning this for a while, because this would start as, and I'm not a doctorologist, I'm a twice college dropout, but I'm an inside cat that's favorite sport is watching people. Besides, I'm a redhead on the internet. Just listen to me. It's either me or Bill O'Reilly. Who are you going to trust?
Let's just start the show.
I'll do it live.
Do it live.
God, I want to have my do it live moment. Like, that is a bucket list moment. Like, just, who is hammering?
I'll do it live.
Or what is the Christian Bayo like? Well, or congratulations, or I can't remember what he did.
Yes.
That's the
Well, congratulations. Yeah. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents at similar reviewing footage that was obtained. The review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue in Idaho State Highway 95, Moscow at 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect 1 vehicle was not displaying a front license plate.
Okay, so he was watching them for a while. I mean, if this plays out, if this timeline, he's out in the snow watching them.
Yeah.
Ugh. Never going out topless in my backyard again.
Oh,
Or will I?
damn it, Mo.
End the show.
Damn it, Mo. How am I going to get them pictures to sell on the internet? Doggone
Look,
it.
I'm just hoping to get captured on Google Earth. It'll be my claim to fame. The only way I'll do OnlyFans, extreme backup. Not close up, backup.
Back up.
Is that a boob? It's a pixel. Welcome to 1994 when you were trying to download something.
Oh,
It's a boob. It's an eyebrow. Damn it.
yep. Yep. It's a boob. It's a boob. It's a boob. Oh, look, it's got cleavage. Oh, no, it's a man's butt.
Yep. That's when you're like, National Geographic isn't fun, but it's reliable. Let's see, where are we? Are we on the second paragraph or the first one?
No, the very first one.
Okay. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the Kings Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. Giggity. The sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence, then leaves via Volanta Road
Yeah.
Drive. Polenta Drive.
It's sort of like placenta, but Walenta.
Why does everything go back to me being pregnant for damn near 6 years of my life? Everything's back to uteruses with Mo.
Well,
Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with very limited numbers of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Now, upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame.
but is that on a regular basis? I'm just curious. Would that be? Did they go back like the Saturday before, and would that seem like normal?
Well, so if he was doing this every other Saturday, I think it would establish a pattern of him doing this.
Yeah.
I do think they're correct that this being a college town and this being more of the college student kind of area of the town, I doubt that anyone that is not, well, is soberish. Very few people that are sober are getting up to go work or do something on the college side of town at 4 a.m.
Yeah, between 3:29 and 4:29. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's why I'm wondering if they looked and saw. Reminds me, I'm upset. AOL finally shut down. Now, how am I going to download porn at 256 kilobytes per second?
I don't know. I'm still mourning Ask Jeeves. I have a little urn set up for him and everything.
I don't know if
incense next to it.
I just want to say, if you're downloaded at 256, then I'm disappointed because I never got those speeds. I was lucky. I think at one point I might have gotten it at 56K, but it was usually at 32.
Well, that's because you didn't get Adele. I wanted Adele so bad just because it was like, dude, you're getting Adele. Again, still with the tech skills I have today, I was like, I want an orange one.
I remember one of my roommates got Adele, and I laughed and mocked them so hard. They were just like, "Wait, it's not funny. I got Adele." I was like, dude, like really? Jumped on 512 play Quake. Yeah, mine was still at 56K. It never reached those speeds. That would have been like DSL speeds.
Let's see. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area for a fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m. So, okay, so he was doing multiple passes, so he didn't watch them as long as I thought he did, which again really makes me wonder what happened when he got in there. Not for that, but again, if he's there at 4 and I think Xana or someone got Grubhub right around there, they're still fairly active because we
Yeah,
were kind of going on the assumption that the reason or the way he was able to subdue all of them so easily was because Ethan, the male, and probably the biggest threat, was asleep. And perhaps he was because it was Xana that was going to get the food. But
right.
it does change how I kind of had this in my head.
Yeah, because I didn't picture it this way. I mean, that's the thing is like, they because news reports were so they didn't give a lot of this information. And a lot of the documents that we'll be reading, this is much more of a summarized version of all that and really gives you a good lean of where all of their investigative skills went to.
Yeah, and it really shows how quickly this all started to coalesce. I think the one thing that any offender is really going to have to adapt and account for, and unfortunately, it's evolution. Once, one side figures out something to help, the other side's going to figure out something to evade.
Mhm.
But I don't know that you will ever be able to fully evade the kind of 1984 world that we've given ourselves with ring cameras, these surveillance cameras. Some people have them inside their house.
Yep.
So,
And yeah, where and they can grab stuff from the outside, from inside. I mean, that's
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Let's see here. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the Kings Road residence, it appears to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn. God dang it, why are there always goddamn 3-point turns in these things?
Well, because he could have done a J turn, but then he would have had the king, queen, and jack, and that would have messed up the tens.
Would that be a flush? I'm terrible at poker. I'm euchre resistant. I don't know if
No,
that's good.
no, that would be
Oh,
that'd be a straight.
I'm really good
But
at Uno and four. I'm good at shuffling.
yeah, that'd be straight. Yeah, a king, queen, jack, queen, king, ace. That's just straight, and you throw a 10 in there, and you've got it really good. Now you can get a flush, which would be all of the same suit, and then if you get a royal flush, is all of the same suit, but your jack, queen, king are in there. Sorry.
Or I could wear a really low cut dress and not have to learn any of that shit.
Yeah, they just throw money
Stand
at you.
next to the winner.
I'm right here for you, baby.
Meet luck and providence. And where they meet, happiness follows. I'm going to tell that to Mr. Mo tomorrow.
You should. Just say meet luck and providence.
Poor Mr. Mo. Our romance cycles, meet up once every, Y2K and leap year.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, do you want to have fun or do you want to take a nap? Honey, I'm putting on the eye mask and don't snore. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. And I guess this is the other part that boggles my mind because I always think it would take such a long time for this kind of attack.
No.
But it's 4 lives were snuffed out in less than the amount of time you would put a frozen pot pie in the oven.
Well, right. And I mean, think about this. And you can, even you, Mo, can sort of put a grasp on this. How long does it take you to go from one room to the next at any given point in time? Now, think about somebody that is somewhat athletic and how fast that they could move through, say, I mean, think about this. You take a 15-minute walk, and whenever you're like gotta have a decent stride, or just imagine, like, for example, Mr. Mo taking like a 15-minute walk. How far does he travel in 15 minutes? I mean, I know that he probably has a longer stride than me, for example, and it wouldn't take him very long. I mean,
No,
you could go to a grocery store, pick up your dinner for the evening, and be in your car, from the time that you exit your car to the time you got back in your car, less than 10 minutes.
I guess that's the surreal part to me. That is the part that will never make sense, no matter how we justify it. That in the time, again, that it takes to, watch a short video or edit a video, he was able to do this much destruction. I guess it just feels like it should take more time, be more weighty, and that's kind of the thing that never will never make sense.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't.
Let's see. He was less, or suspect vehicle one is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and reviewing of camera footage in the neighborhood, it does not show suspect vehicle one during that time frame. I believe that suspect vehicle one likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them.
I could see that. That would be
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, and I think that's where this is the problem Brian also didn't foresee. He picked early morning, a time when it was going to be very noticeable he was the only car. Now,
Right.
he picked that because he assumed they would all be asleep, but he also picked a Friday or a Saturday or Friday night. I can't remember which, but a night when people would typically be up later. So, because of his lack of social acuity, his lack of social bonds, he didn't put that into his calculus, possibly, or he academically thought about it but didn't think about all of this because he lacks those social interactive thought processes.
Right. He's just looking at, well, when is the most convenient time, whenever there's not going to be whenever they would be asleep. And that's what he's looking for. And he's looking for this kind of area where they'll be asleep. They'll be much more vulnerable. They'll probably be passed out because they've been drinking. I mean, it's the same aspect that a lot of people get whenever they think about, oh, this YouTuber, gets up and they stream and they put all these videos together. You get this fantasy, we live some like fantastic lifestyle, or even as a rock musician, it's just like, you think that whenever I was a musician, that it was just like, oh, I'd party until 4 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, we did. It's usually 5 o'clock in the morning. We're usually exhausted. We usually go grab some breakfast, and then we would go back to the hotel room and sleep until like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then get up and go do a sound check, and then, set up and then go grab some dinner, and then do a show that night. And in between that time, you would, if you got up early, say you woke up at noon or something like that, you'd go take in some sights and relax. I mean, just, it wasn't like we sat around, just, we're going to jam all day long. No, it was work.
This also shows me how arrogant he was. Again, for all the knowledge that we know, this is his first crime. He picks high risk, multiple, victims and all of that. No, this is just a memo. We're just reading the documentation from the police. I do believe there are photos, but I do want to look at those before I put them up because other news that has come out is that at least through Steve Goncalves, the families have petitioned for all of the more gruesome and graphic photos to be sealed, and I absolutely 100% agree with this.
Yes.
I hope and pray that the state and the judge go along with this. There are things we don't need to see for
Yeah.
the dignity of the family, for the, you know, the purpose of this is to remember these victims, but learn how the investigation, played out. That's why we don't go into the gruesome stuff. We don't highlight that. There are other channels. This isn't a judgment thing. This is just how we choose to cover it.
Yes. This was something we discussed about before we even started talking about that.
Gonsalves?
Gonsalves. I don't know.
I'm just gonna start calling him G.
Yeah. G-man.
Okay, if you would like to go.
Yes. You were at, where were we? We were right here at the top.
Let's see. Yes, I believe so.
Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect one's forensics examiners to the FBI that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that was observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner is approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles. He uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. And this doesn't take much if you've ever been a mechanic. You can look at certain aspects, like, for example, and I'll just use this as a perfect example. Imagine seeing a Volkswagen Jetta. Now, you can sort of picture that in your head. They look very similar to a Honda as far as
Yes.
the length, the four doors, the nose, the tail. But
Okay.
there's
Are
slight
Kias
differences.
the same thing? Because
Right.
Kias also look very similar to. Look, I'm not a carologist.
Right. Kias, Hondas, Hyundais, they're all going to look very similar and Toyotas, they're all going to look similar. Now, if you do study a little bit of the cars, you're going to notice that certain Toyotas might have a little bit something different about the bumper on the back, or they might have a fin on it, or they might have some extra ground effects that the other kind of cars don't have. It's like a Honda Type R is basically a Civic, but it's got some different features to it, like a wing and ground effects, and the back looks different, just slightly. So you would notice these things if you notice about these cars. So, him with 35 years of law enforcement expertise could tell you the difference between, well, that's a Ford Bronco and that's a Ford Escape, or, he'd be able to identify those different cars. And yes, most cars are going to look the same. I mean, because there's a certain aesthetic that most manufacturers are going for. And, it's like you could tell the difference between a PT Cruiser and a Ford F-150. I mean, if someone
That's
said
about
this
the
is a
only
Ford F-150, this is a
identification I
PT Cruiser,
could
and you'd
make.
go, most definitely that's a PT Cruiser. Okay, and if you say that's a Ford F-150, I can't tell the difference between a Ford F-150, a 250, a 350. Oh, it's just the engine, basically.
I mean, y'all, I'm not saying that I'm ever going to play the lottery, but if I win a teal and purple PT Cruiser with flames on it, hells yes. Hells yeah.
And I would say if you do that, make sure you just replace the engine on it, because those engines are garbage.
I'm going to make you replace the engine. You're a carologist.
No, I will never replace another engine on a PT Cruiser. That's how bad it is to work on those.
Daggone it. Gets us back to the Edsel for me.
Because yeah, you'd probably do better off with the Edsel. I guarantee you. The PT Cruiser engine is such garbage, and they vapor lock. Basically, if the timing belt breaks on it, the whole engine will destroy itself. It's beautiful.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you, Denise.
there's something beautiful.
Yeah. Upon further review, he indicated that it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra, Okay. Now, whenever they say a 2011 to 13 or 11 to 16, now you have to remember every 4 years they change the model of a car. Okay. So,
Oh,
and
see,
it
I thought
works
it
in a
was every
4 year
year
cycle.
because that's why they had a new number on it.
No, they do a full revamp every 4 years. So at the beginning, like say for example, you buy a PT Cruiser, and we'll just say a 2000 PT Cruiser, and then you get 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. So in 2003, they start changing up something about it. They might change it, put a different motor in it. It might keep somewhat of the same body style, but they might change the headlights a little bit just to give it a little bit more of an updated look. Now they'll do that the same thing. Now it looks like a pissed off catfish. Exactly. I had those things I hated driving. I drove one. They suck.
The Aztec was probably the worst car I have ever been in.
Oh
The back,
God.
the rear view, because of the way they
Hmm.
canted, or it was just the most god awful car. My boss had one, and she's like, "Oh, just drive it to the store for me; it'll be fine." I am white effing knuckled because I cannot, figure. I can't see very well in the back thing. This is not my car. My boss may have made Janet Reno look young and feminine. That was her build. I mean, she could have been on the '84 Packers. All right, she would have
Oh
won
my God.
offensive line. That being
Yeah.
said, I was scared to death I was going to mess up this woman's car.
Well, and the thing is if you've so whenever they're saying 2011 to 2016, it means they didn't change too much about the body style that was close enough that you couldn't tell the difference. They might have put a different drivetrain in, a different engine, but usually it's 4 years. Every 4 years, they do a full recycle. So if you're ever looking to buy a car and you want to make sure that it has all of the little bugs and kinks out of it, buy the last year before they come out with the next year. Like for example, if you buy a 2013 vehicle, and just know that in 2014, they're going to come out with a new one. 2014 is going to be a brand new car. It's going to have a whole new make, model, look, and everything. Probably same drivetrain and all that kind of stuff, but they've worked all the bugs out of it in that first one, and then created a whole bunch of new bugs that they have to work out for the
Woo!
next 4 to 6 years. So that's why he's saying to 2011 to 2016, because it would have been in
Okay.
2011 that was built, and 2015 was the last year it was built. So it probably would have been sold all the way through 2016 with the same stamp on it. Sorry, just car
Oh,
shit.
no, that's actually good to know because that's something I didn't know before. I always like learning stuff. Usually new curse words, but it's good to branch out once in a while.
Oh, I've got all kinds of good curse words. Investigators were
Crap
given
spackle.
access. What was that?
Crap spackle. It's my new favorite made up
Crap
word.
spackle.
Yeah.
I'm sort of I like boob spackle much more. It's never mind. Investigators were given the access
Different
to
places, different adverbs. What can you say?
access to the video footage on Washington State University WSU campus located in Pullman. A review of that video indicated that it was at approximately 2:44 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white launcher known as Suspect 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northwest Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which consisted with the description of the white launcher known as Suspect Vehicle 1, which means it didn't have a tag on the front of it, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards some people call it Star Route, some people call it State Route 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Moscow, and Moscow, Idaho. The camera footage from Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed at Pullman, Washington, as being a 2014 to a 2016 Hyundai Elantra. Sorry.
So, what I do also wonder again is his inability to kind of think about these things because of his lack of socialization also means that he was incredibly reckless, like Dave Berkowitz, Dave Berkowitz, as far as getting tickets, not obeying things, making records,
Right.
things like that. It's really interesting. I only bring that up because we're actually I think Monday was the 48th anniversary of the Son of Sam trial ending or them finding him. Can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was something like that. I remember going back, and that was one of the first things that whenever I started like learning about like, oh, there's these such things as serial killers, and it's one of those phases I went through. I don't know. It was like, oh, this is really interesting. I think somebody gave me a thing about this guy named Hacksaw that like escaped from I don't know how many different jails, and what kept getting him busted. Like dude sometimes would just walk out. He would just get up and walk out of the damn building and nobody would stop him, and he was just like, okay. And one of the times that he got busted was because he was drinking and driving, and he got pulled over for drinking and driving. They found out that he had, he was supposed to be in jail. They like ran his prints, and he was like, well, shit. But that's the kind of stuff that usually gets you in trouble is, just dumb stuff.
Well, again, he seems from everything that I've researched and looked at, he's very arrogant. His blind spot was that he thought he was smarter than everyone in the room, so he didn't look at perspectives outside his own. If he had really been very, very smart and self-aware, he would have studied their patterns more and see, okay, it's very likely that there's going to be multiple people. They're going to be up later. It's also going to look very sus if I'm the only one driving. Maybe I should do this on a weekday when there's a little bit more traffic at that time, because you can depend on some people having early jobs.
Or figuring out that these people are going to be, and especially if he's targeting just one person, like if he was actually just targeting one of them, that he would figure out what sort of their schedule is whenever they were going to be there, possibly asleep, and that way he could sort of time it, because it could be easy, during this middle part of the day, they're usually home and maybe they're in the shower, taking a shower because they've been up all day or whatever. You could have timed your crap a little bit better, but he didn't have those kinds of social skills, like you said, didn't think like that.
If I put myself in his shoes, a better time would have been 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Most college students don't wake up that early. They would be dead asleep because they probably got to bed at 4. There's enough traffic that, people are up and going. Some people like me are morning people, and even in college would go to early morning classes. So you have more of a cover. The fact that I sit here and think about these things is going to get me put on a list.
No, not at all. No.
I'm already on a list.
What's your address again?
Hello, Ref BI.
Hello, Ref BI. No, but that does make a lot more sense. I mean, if it, like I said, it could be that, at 8 o'clock in the morning, she's already up and out for a run or something like that. Or the person that he's after maybe he was after the dude, who knows? It's just, it could have been at any point in time. Son, take me to the drive-through bank. Bojangles, that's right. But you just like, he could, if he had any common sense, he would have stopped to actually think about these kinds of things. If he would have had social skills, it wouldn't have been like what was convenient for him. It would have been what's convenient for committing this crime.
Well, and what all of these criminals forget, and the reason why you can't have a perfect crime, is you can think of all of the possibilities from your general perspective. Mm-hmm. But the people that are hunting you, the detectives, are looking at it from a completely different perspective, and there might have been a blind spot for you. So again, all these people that are like, I watched Dexter, I could totally get away with it. I watched Breaking Bad, I just need muriatic acid. No,
that's not the way it works. You have to understand in these TV shows, and that's where people get confused. TV shows, it's already written into the script. They know how it's going to end already. So they can sort of work their way through and make sure that it's just convenient. It's like Forrest Gump on steroids, where it's just like, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And Lieutenant Dan was there. and we decided to buy some stock with a little funny apple on it, and it sold whole kinds of money, and I got really rich. That's not how real life works.
Oh my God, Shizzy, the amount of times since I become crippled that I'm like, Lieutenant Dan, I got new legs. Or he's like,
Lieutenant
ice
Dan.
cream.
Ice cream. I mean, it's one of those where it's already written into the script. Nothing's going to fall into place. Like you could come up with the perfect idea, and it just happens to be that one particular day that Ethel, the old lady, decided, well, she is. Yeah, it happens. I know exactly what you mean. That Ethel, the old lady, her husband, he had a heart attack. She had to rush him off to the hospital because, they were in the car. So she was actually speeding. She lost a little bit of traction and sideswiped your car. And you're like, well, damn. Now my car is going to be recognizable as you're going to, do this thing. Or maybe someone backed up and took out your tail light, and it just happened to be, well, doggone it, now it's going to be noticed that my tail light's gone. Now, how do I get away with this perfect crime? These are the kinds of things that you run in that you don't expect to happen. You can't have the perfect one.
Not to quote Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, but chaos and life finds a way to fuck you over if you're doing evil shit. It just does. I mean, it kicks you in the teeth even if you're a semi-goodish person who only makes fun of people in their head.
Yep. Did Protractor touch the car? Proctor touched the car. Yeah, that could be.
No, Jeb is just putting blue paint on, so he's going to see if it's a Hyundai. Is it a Hyundai or Hyundai?
Hyundai. I don't care what it is. It's not a Honda. It's some Korean knockoff of something. I love guitar behind someone. It makes them look like an expert. I am not an expert by any means, shape, or
we
form.
never claim to be expertologists.
No expert here.
No, we do know the expert though.
Yes. We haven't figured out what he's an expert at, but we need to,
He's part of many government studies at the moment.
yes, we need to make the expert great again.
Yes.
You keep calling your son's car an Acura, but it's totally an Elantra. Well, there is a big difference. An Acura is made by Honda, and Elantra is made by Hyundai. Acura is owned by Honda America, I believe, and it's the upscale version of Hondas. So if you ever see an Acura and you go, oh wow, that's a cute SUV, just you go, oh well, either that's a Pilot or that's a CRV. It's basically the same car, just with all the bells and whistles and a little bit different body style. Sorry, I'm car geeking out again. You're still reading.
Oh, let's see. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with the Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and west on State Road 270.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because they keep talking about Johnson and Cougar. I'm like,
Well, I mean,
sorry.
Let's see here. Bishop Boulevard and northwest on State Road 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar. Okay, this is when I am president. We are not every HOA who has effing Leaf Drive, Leaf Court, Leaf cul-de-sac, Leaf, lane. It's gonna stop, y'all. This is madness. This is effing madness.
Well, it's
I am
just
bringing order to the world.
when here's a description showing Moscow Pullman. So Moscow Pullman or Pullman Moscow, I don't know. I can't really tell. Showing the white Elantra's path of travel. It went in a square. Okay, got it. Sorry. Just like
Well, it looks like so this didn't translate well, but they do have red dots. It's
Yeah.
just really hard to see.
I see. I thought those were just like cell towers or something. White Elantra seen return to WSU campus. White Elantra leaving the SU campus. Okay, so they have the green arrows. So let's see. I can't really draw on it, but right here, right here, right here. I just see too many like green splotches everywhere. And I think there's a little arrow there somewhere. Okay, so it went that
No,
way.
Shizzy, what you're supposed to do is not focus on it, and then you can see the sailboat.
Oh, there is a sailboat there. Damn, I hate you. Don't worry, mate. I'm pissing my pants. Oh, don't do that. Don't worry that. Don't.
Congratulations,
I mean,
Mazel
you know.
tov.
On November 25th, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai, a white car in the area.
A white one.
White one. And on launches, on November 29th, approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington University, WSU police officer Daniel Tinkles queried white Elantras registered at WSU as a result. The query located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate. Little fucking zoo. 86. Sorry.
Well, here's the
It's
other thing.
Lima
He
Foxtrot
also,
Zulu. If that helps all of you
well, so
military
here's
people
the
out
other
there.
thing, Shizzy. He's a great, crimeologist. He is the smartest man in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't research how many Hyundai Elantras were in the vicinity to see if he blended in. This is something that, again, would probably not be one of the first things you think about. But if you were going through and, here's the problem. We would like to make him the mastermind because then evil is smart. It has a logic and internal reason to it.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes evil is just evil. And while he is cunning in certain ways, he was very dumb in other ways, just like all of us are. Don't ask me to give you directions. It is not going to end well.
Yeah, because you're going to end up by some water tower that was tore down like 10 years ago.
Look, I don't want to tell you, but in a past life, I was the navigator on the Donner Party, okay? And we all know how that ended up.
Well, and see, here's the problem, Squid. If he would have stolen the car, then the car would have been noticed as missing. They probably could have pulled DNA from the vehicle. I mean, you can look at it any multitude of different ways because if they're, say, for example, it was a white Hyundai Elantra and it showed up as stolen. So what they would have done is the first thing they would have done is they would have secured that car. They would have tied it all up. They would have made sure that they went through it with a fine-tooth comb. They probably would have found some sort of blood or snow or a hair follicle or, skin follicle or slobber where he was drooling all over himself or other male fluids because he's a jack-off. Well, and they said that the vehicle was registered to Brian after Kohberger residing at his address in Pullman. Is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. Last camera location that picked up the white Elantra, which could have been excusable. I mean, this is why you're looking for it. Well, that same day at 12:58, WSU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for a white Hyundai Elantra and located a 2015 Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, Pullman in the parking lot. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car, returned it to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington state driver's license information photograph. The license indicates that Kohberger is a white male of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM shown inside the King Road residence on November 13th. And I think I have a picture of that. Give me just a second. I can
I know
can
this, there was a sketch that came out, but I often find those sketches are either really good or uncanny valley to the point where I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
exactly. And I do have, where is it? I think it's here.
And while you're looking for that, okay, question, was there any other DNA evidence beside the sheath? So the way Shizzy and I are approaching this, or at least the way we kind of talked about approaching this, we're kind of learning these things through the documents as you guys are learning them. Both Shizzy and I didn't look deeply into this case before it started. I know Shizzy was covering other stuff, but for me, I was just going to cover the Kohberger case.
Right.
Going in as a juror, I mean, I really had no opinion on it. I was wanting, I was wanting the state to prove their case or the defense to prove their case.
See, I
But,
found the picture right here.
oh,
Right. See, do you see it? Let's just pull up my avatar. There it is. There's the picture. Got it. See?
Ethel Merman without her makeup on.
No, but yeah, that you're absolutely right, Mo. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
But
no,
yeah,
that's okay.
I mean, and Kohberger was something that I was going to be covering during like whenever things slow down with the other stuff that I'm covering, because I found it very interesting. I thought it would make for a very interesting trial to watch through at a faster speed.
Yeah, well,
Because
and there's something about not having a side and going in because especially like with the cases like Karen Reed and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't know anything about Karen Reed when I went on with Baker for the first trial, and I tried to keep the same up in mind on the second trial.
it was just harder
And
the second time around.
it was harder mostly because my ADHD was like, I already know this. And then but then time dilation was proved real when they were talking about the infotainments. I was like, this is torture.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah, exactly. And I mean that was like I said, Kohberger was something that interested me whenever Mo suggested that we, if I was interested in going over these documents, I was like, yeah, absolutely, because it was something that I find very interesting. So she had a lot more of the information than I had. He was going down no matter what. I mean, he could have easily gotten away with all of this. I mean, he could have gone to trial and they could have found him not guilty. I mean, I doubt it, but they could have.
Okay. Now, normally I don't really give two craps in a handbasket, but we have stated that we haven't looked into this. We haven't researched this. We are reading and getting the information that the state had that built their case. I, again, have no opinion. If you would like to start a channel and present your evidence, I'd be willing to listen to it. But right now, Hagatha the Leg is being a fucking bitch, and I just don't have the bandwidth to deal with you. So I don't understand why you continue to watch if this is not your channel. There are gajillions of other channels. So please do.
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm
No, I mean
like,
you can absolutely go and watch all of the other channels that are making wild guesses and don't read any of the documents and that's, or hell, even better yet, you can start your own channel and I'm sure you'll gain like 1 million subs and watch it live. I mean, just saying.
normally I don't say anything, but again, this is what the part of humanity that has always confused me and made me feel like I was an alien. But I never realized that everyone feels like an alien in this world because we all view the world from a, different perspective. But I have never understood the human capacity to continue to watch something that bothers you. Again, I don't.
No, I usually turn it
I
off.
know. But, hey, it's no skin off my nips. Watch, don't watch. Pee yourself laughing because we're stupid. I don't care. We haven't been on the case for the last freaking time. We are going through the documents for the first time here. I am sorry you lack the cognitive ability to understand simple statements given in a declarative fashion. I will pray for you. God bless you.
Well, you couldn't have put that any better.
I am tired of the mentally subnormal and the late blooming child prodigies that learn something from goddamn Google getting on here when my leg has pissed me off royally. Like, again, if you don't agree with anything that we've said or lack the ability to intake information as we have clearly delineated it through English as our first language and only language, I can't help you. I cannot be your living thesaurus. I cannot be your goddamn dictionary. I am not fucking Sarah Boone, but I forgive you.
It's okay. They're a little slow. They haven't figured it out yet. That we weren't
Shizzy,
we weren't following
I
this
might have a
case.
candidate for you to give the helmet to. We help the needy around here.
Oh,
Donate
right.
to send Shizzy's helmet to people who need it.
All right. Let me explain something to you. We'll put this as the best way we possibly can. Here on Mo's channel, I am the official retard. I am a retard just about everywhere I go. And it's not because I choose to be. It could have been because I was dropped on my head as a small child. But it's
Blessing
okay.
or hindrance, you decide.
But if I'm more intelligent than you, it makes you wonder, how many times were you dropped on your head as a child? So I would suggest, figure it out, that we are here, we're watching this, we're seeing a lot of these documents for the first time. And we chose it that way because, well, what is better than to come into a case cold, to see exactly what's going on, instead of being the first to jump on something, act like a true crimer, and go and suck at the nips of complete idiots that are dry and barren and think that you know something more than everybody else because you've been watching Reddit threads. So before you get your panties up in a wad, just realize that ball gag is there for a reason. You might want to use it.
Well, and that being said, Squid is right. Everyone's going to do different things to approach a case. Some people like to watch all the hearings and going into it because, as we know, if you are law to or lay tube adjacent, a lot of cases, very important things are determined in limine before the trial even starts. Again, a lot of this, we are going to be going into hearings and, pretrial hearings where we're going to learn all about what the defense was trying to put through. We will show you all of the documents. They're all going to be here. But what clearly isn't being communicated is that we don't have a dog in this fight.
No, we already know that he's guilty. He pled guilty.
And again, if you can show me the Uno reverse underwater basket weaving 4D chess, this is a plot or a plan that is going to come to fruition, somewhere 40 years in the desert, like the goddamn, deliverance exodus, then that's fine. Show me your evidence. I have never, shied away from a crazy conspiracy.
No.
But it needs to be grounded in evidence. So if you have it,
you also have to remember that you're talking to somebody that is incapable of actually communicating properly. Because if you wanted to communicate what you're truly trying to say and all this kind of neat stuff, you probably would just have your own YouTube channel and you would have like more people sub to you and watching you because you're so fucking smart. But apparently nobody's paying any attention to you. That's why you're over here running your
I'm
cock
already
washer.
irritated. We've given you enough time, but it just pissed me off. And look, here's the issue. I know that you think that I have a glamorous, lovely life, and yes, I do, be peanut butter and jealous. But currently, my one leg is dancing around like it was electrocuted by that guy in powder. So again, I do this as a stress relief. I read and I give you guys information. I don't tell you how to think. You guys can do what you want. I'm not your mama, and I'm not, paying taxes or getting tax credits on you. That being said, let's get back to reading.
The students, Officer Whitman also ran the car and returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information photograph. License indicates, I think I already read that, 6 foot, 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Further investigation included review of Loudoun County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke's body cam reports and showed that on August 21st, 2022, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by Corporal Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was sole occupant, was driving a 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate, which was set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During this stop, which was recorded via the law enforcement body cam, Kohberger provided his phone number as hereafter the 8458 phone as his cell phone number. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 number is the phone number used by ATT. Now, on October 14th, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by WSU. Upon review of that body cam reported the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant driving that vehicle. On November 18th, according to state licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 with Washington. The Elantra later perceived with the license plate.
Shizzy, have you ever lived in, I've never lived in a state where you had to have two license plates. So do they send them at the same time or do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So states that have two license plates, I can't remember all of them. And I know that at one point in time, Illinois you had to have a plate on the front of it. And I can't remember if California at some point in time had it. And that was so you could actually see the vehicle as it was coming at you, be able to get the license plate number, or for some other reason, I don't know. But I know that certain plates require, certain states required you have a plate on the front and the rear. I think Louisiana had that for a while, if they still don't. You know, it's just, it varies from state to state. Now, like in Georgia, you don't have to have one on the rear. And that's probably because you're usually hitting too many people in crosswalks and stuff. And they don't want to leave that license plate mark on people. It's just better to leave paint marks on their foreheads. Wisconsin has two plates. So yeah. And apparently Idaho has two plates also. And it could be because of snow and things like that. Maybe mud, dirt, who knows?
Yeah, and it could also be that, you know, a police officer, again, with these being, and it's a state thing, but I would think with these being rural roads, you know, you might only run into a car fleetingly and they might want police to be able to easily identify the car because it is so rural. You might have a really big space that you're patrolling. I don't know. I'm not a logistician.
Well, you gotta have something to keep those inmates busy, stamping the license plates, and why not just make duplicates? You know, well, Bob, I know you've been working really hard today, so how about you punch out 2 plates today, and we'll charge them the same amount, but we're using your slave labor to do that.
I mean, here's the problem I see with this coming in the future, and I do mean just in general the criminal justice system. We are dangerously close to swinging back to something much more strict than 3 strikes you're out because of how badly and how lax this system is right now. And I foresee a lot of more kind of charges. There's localities that are charging parents for poor behavior. And I sort of agree with that, but I also don't agree with that. So I would like someone much smarter than me to come up with a solution.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that of a, even if they're a minor doing something horrendous and parents being charged with the same crime. I don't care how crappy the parents are or anything like that. I'm just saying, I don't think that's right in any way, shape, or form. I think that's a horrible way to go down the justice system, because that can lead to much more incarceration on people that needs not happen. Because I'm sure the parents are going, great, my son is in prison. Now I look at going to prison, both mom and dad going to prison, losing everything that they've worked hard for because of somebody else's actions. And that right there should, I just don't agree with those kinds of things. I find them very, very bad.
Yeah, it's a balancing act because there is becoming a boiling point of where people are getting tired of sort of this lawlessness, but where do you draw the line? And what I am worried about is that we are not going to conservatively or logically or with, foresight and actual thought
Yes. I mean,
swing the pendulum.
well, and I could think that, sure, if the parents were negligent in something, then be charged with some sort of negligence, not with the same crime that was committed by the minor. That to me sounds, charge one of them but don't charge both. If you're going to charge the parents, then don't charge the child. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to go after somebody, then don't go after the person that did it. Yeah, it makes total sense to me.
Yeah, it's just, again, I never claim to be the smartest person here. In fact, that's part of the things that helped me become a better person, because I never assume I know everything. I always assume there's something I'm completely ignorant of.
Well, and a perfect example of that would be like Steve Gosney. Like, he's very much against the death penalty, and I'm very much for the death penalty. But we can both agree, that it's something that needs to be discussed, and that's not our place. It's that's beyond. I mean, we can have an opinion on it, but it doesn't mean that we're going to ever convince one another of the differences. And it does also shine things in a new light. Ways that you don't see it because, of another person's experience.
Yeah, and I do like that. I mean, there are perspectives. That's why I do like LawTube. There's, times I want to see, Emily D. Baker sometimes has a lot more kind of the emotional and, maybe the random squirrel thoughts like me. But then, if I want something very logically broken down with, kind of the history of the law, I'll go to Kurt. So it's just, different things for different people, and
Right.
always learn something every day.
Exactly. As much as possible. As much as possible. Oh,
Let's
so
see. Investigators believed that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th, 2022 by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado, information provided by a query to a database. Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. And we will eventually get to the body cam footage of this. Kohberger is with his father, and they both act relatively normal. I mean, again, all the sort of tells and different indication and body languageology is all with the, 2020 hindsight bias.
right. I'm sorry, if you're one of those bodyologists, have fun, enjoy it. I don't subscribe to it. There's certain things that are pretty obvious of if someone's avoiding, but the only thing is the problem I have with these YouTube bodyologists is they don't have a baseline. So they don't know what a person acts like in the first place. They may take something that's actually just a normal tick, and because they want to put something to it, that they'll go, oh, you can tell because he was blinking twice as much that X, Y, or Z. And it's just like, yeah, but he actually has a tick, and that's normal for him. So you have to have a baseline to start out with, like the body science and shit like that, which most of these people don't have a baseline of what their normal baseline is. So, and it's the same thing with these two Cellbrite people wanting to give their opinion on this kind of stuff. It's like you don't have a baseline for this. You don't know what normal is, and then you're also not trained to be, a digital you're trained to be digital forensics, not like medical forensics. It's a completely different ball game. How are you going to tell us how someone was thinking whenever that's not your area of expertise?
And the thing is, we all do this to some extent.
Yes.
Mirror neurons are the part of your brain that take in the micro expressions, all of the things. So I go back to Brian Kohberger is deeply unsettling to me. Now, that might not be, a
Right.
universal thing, but the fact that he has such a flat affect is something in my lizard brain is very, very worried because I can't read what his intentions are. There is something very unsettling about that. And I bring that up because I do think defense attorneys and attorneys in general are going to have to start being very aware of how their client appears, optics. If they had Brian talking to one of the, lawyers working on notes, the deadpan stare at the camera, while it might be part of his social anxiety autism, is still deeply, deeply unsettling to most people. And you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of how your client presents. You have to be aware that he is again a poster board for a Kubrick film in which he dresses up as his or no, that's a Hitchcock film where he dresses up as his mama.
Or and you can also look at, for example, Sarah Boone, where she would show up with way too much confidence and be taking notes meticulously so she could be writing love letters to Bo. And she would spend, the entire time there acting like she's too good to be in this place and she's the smartest person in the room. Now she gave off the vibes of being a total Karen of, I know exactly better than everybody else what happened and all of you are wrong. Yes, I put him in there, but it was with reason. It's because he was so violent towards me. Not realizing then that, she was the one that was being the abuser.
Yeah.
And that's hindsight is 2020. We can see how much of an abuser she was. But that's the problem. She never saw it as being the abuser. She sees herself as the victim.
Let's see. On December 16th, 2022, at approximately 2:26 p.m., surveillance video showed Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Kohberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through TLO search and locate tool database query. So this is interesting to me that they were able to, interesting and terrifying that we now have, again, surveillance that can clock you as you go cross country.
Well, and he had just gotten pulled over. It would have been a difference if he hadn't gotten pulled over. There would be no tracking that. But they would have seen that, where he registered his vehicle earlier on, it's just sort of giving a confirmation of, so he's traveling from these points in time to these points in time and able to track that particular vehicle. I mean, your license plate can be tracked pretty much anywhere. That's why, using, TV shows, they're constantly changing out their plates. Doesn't mean that it's going to work because you might have a scratch or dirt on your car and, those kinds of things. It's not all, these big TV shows.
Based on information provided on the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. Let's see. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in his essay that he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how better to collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Now, Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, well, that explains a whole lot, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to, quote, understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision makings when committing a crime, end quote.
Well, and I would be interested in seeing what the survey is. I mean, because, you know, this might have been what the survey was about, but maybe that's not what the survey said, or maybe that's what the survey said, and they were just, answering questions,
Well, what pops into my head is I'm wondering if because most sociopaths, again, not a doctorologist, are supposed to not be able to have or feel many emotions. It might be sort of a way to live vicariously, because even if he does these things, he might not feel the rush. So he's trying to figure out if other people feel the rush. I
could
don't
be.
know.
I don't know. That could be. Well, as
As
part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cell towers in proximity to these locations. After determining that Kohberger was associated with the white Elantra and the phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query didn't show the phone utilizing those cell towers in close proximity. Based on my training experience and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cell phone cell records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime, or turn their cell phone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cell device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime was committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on circumstances, this could be done a few days before or several months prior to the commission. During these types of surveillance, it's possible that an individual would not leave their cell phone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. That makes sense. I mean,
yeah, and isn't this a probable cause affidavit? So we aren't going to have all the information on this. This is
right.
what he's telling the judge, like, can we please get a warrant to nab this guy? So it's going to be a summary of all that they know. It's going to be basically the highlights. This is
Right.
this is our strongest evidence. Judge, please look at it and see if we have enough that you think that we meet the bar to arrest or, have a warrant.
Right. And that bar, depending on what the crime is, could be higher or lower. So yeah, it's going to be pretty open on this. He applied and was granted the search warrant on December 23rd, 2022. Pursuant to that warrant, he received records for that phone. The records were subscribed to Brian Kohberger in Pennsylvania. The account, these records also include historical cell data location or where it was for that phone. After receiving that information, he consulted with an FBI special agent, and he was qualified. And I'm just looking. On the 13th of 2022 was approximately 2:42. The cell phone was utilizing the cell resources that provided coverage in Pullman, hereby the Kohberger residence. And I'm just going to scroll through some of this because it's cell stuff is really boring. It just basically says where the cell phone was at, Uniontown ID, then north back to Pullman. The phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage in Pullman, consistent with the phone traveling back to the Kohberger residence. Phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that is observed traveling. Further review indicated that the phone utilized cell resources on November 13th, 2022 that were consistent with leaving the area, traveling to Moscow. Specifically, the phone utilizes cell resources to provide coverage of the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. So what they're saying here is he actually was in that area at those particular points in time, checking the place out ahead of time. At least that's what the cell phone would show.
Well, no, wait, so if this is the 13th, he was there when the cops were coming in and the roommate saw it.
Mhm.
That might also be a part of the thrill for him. Again, I can just imagine him sitting in the car, kind of driving by slowly and doing the looky-loo, which most people would do, and just thinking, I caused this. I
Right.
did all of this and no one knows. I am sure he was just so smugly, like, I'm sure he had like what a maybe he doesn't look like he smiles, so he probably was doing like, what do I
Do I smile or do I just drive by and stare creepily? Oof. Lowest description depiction, not to scale the possible route taken. Boom. Investigators found that the phone did not connect to a cell phone towers that provide service to Moscow on the 14th, but investigators do not believe that the phone was in Moscow on that date. It's not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. That it observed departing Pullman, just basically saying that it was consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred on the King Road residence.
On
Sorry.
December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historical CSLI. Now, from June 23rd, 2022 to current, prospective location information and pen register trap and trace on his phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, or was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after the alleged offense. Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, 2022, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received historical records for the phone number from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June 2022. After consulting with the CAST SA, I was able to determine estimated locations for the phone from June 2022 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records for the phone show the phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th, 2022. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred late in the evening or early morning hours of their respective days.
Ooh.
So, yes, he was obviously there for something. And what is interesting is a lot of these criminals, these mass, he doesn't qualify as a serial killer, but
No.
he probably was a potential one.
Mm-hmm.
A
Had he,
lot of them start with peeping Tom behavior.
yes.
It's a voyeuristic thing, and then suddenly peeping Tom isn't enough. You need to steal some underpants or, that. They're chronically looking for a thrill because they can't experience regular emotions, I guess. I don't know. People smarter than me figure this stuff out.
Well, and I'm also thinking that, so it's showing that he's been there multiple times in that particular area. And it could be that, it would be normal, for example, if he was like a Uber Eats driver, or an Uber driver, that this would have happened on a regular basis. But from what I understand, this wasn't just a normal place for people to go unless they had a reason to be there. And it's,
Yeah.
like a place that my wife and I lived at one point in time. We could always tell whenever somebody didn't belong in the area because we knew all the cars that lived on that street. But that street wasn't like any sort of pass through. It made no sense to go through this neighborhood. So if we saw a car there, we would keep a close eye on it because it means that they were probably up to some sort of nefarious reason for being there, or just got lost in the neighborhood, which would be common also. But you would pay a little bit closer attention, if you saw for example, a white Elantra, and there would be no white Elantras in our neighborhood, but all of a sudden you see one cruising through, you might go, that's a little odd. Why is this person
No.
here? And if you see
Oh
it
my
multiple
gosh.
times, you're going to be figuring out where they live.
Shizzy, for the love of goodness, I live in a neighborhood that is close to having maybe 70% octogenarian population. And since they discovered next door, there is the suspicious car, I'm like, Mildred, you ordered like 97 things off of Home Shopping Network and Amazon. These
Yeah.
are all Amazon. They look suspicious.
Yeah. They're not.
97 notices on Nextdoor, like suspicious.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kravitz would have a field day in my neighborhood.
Oh, God, yes. So further analysis of the cell data provided that the resources between 13 consistent with phone traveling from Pullman, Washington, Lewiston, Idaho, and just gives directions of where they were traveling. And then at 12:46, it utilized cell data in the area of Albertson's grocery store. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertson showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1. At 12:49, interior surveillance shows Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04. His possible path of travel is depicted below, not to scale. Additional analysis of the records of the phone indicate that between approximately 5:32 and 5:36.
When I'm president, we're changing further study.
Yes.
No more, like, I don't mind moist, but analysis we are changing.
Analysis.
Yes.
Because it looks like dialysis except anally. Phone then stops.
Especially if you're dyslexic and you do like the syllables and you're like analist and you're like, wait, that's not how you see.
Why are you an analyst? I don't understand.
Why are we paying for them? What's the government doing? Doge, get over here.
It basically saying that that it traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time that those occurred. The recovered trash from Kohberger's family resident located in Alberts Wright, Pennsylvania. Now, I remember hearing about this on the news, so this is interesting.
And I do think this was the big contention for the defense. I do believe, so I know that it is a fairly new thing that cases are using ancestral DNA. And I know that, the legalities of all that haven't been quite hammered out. So I do think that, again, not knowing this case, I do remember that there were issues that the defense tried to raise about, I believe, both the collection of his DNA from the trash, but also the use of ancestral DNA to, figure out who he was.
Right. But see, this also shows that they obtained from the trash DNA profile obtained from the sheath, identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile, with at least 99.999998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father.
I need that clip that says, "So you're saying I have a chance."
Yes, from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Based on the above information, I'm requesting an arrest warrant be issued for him for burglary at the Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of deletion in the first degree for the deletion of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zayna Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. And that was issued on 12/29 of 2022, right after Christmas.
Yeah. So, I mean, so you think November 13th, this is a month and a half maybe that they knew things. And part of me wonders if he jumped the gun. So my guess is that, again, he could have been much more meticulous. You take very noticeable pattern shoes. You didn't have shoe covering. He lost control. There was obviously a lot of that. But again, he had to be thinking, if he were thinking rationally and maybe not getting caught up in the fantasy, he would have realized he should have had a reason he went there. He should have established relationships. Again, if he was a fan of Ted Bundy had this sort of superficial charm, and a lot of the people around him were very, very shocked that he turned out to be who he was, including the Mormons.
Well, nobody was shocked that Kohberger turned out who he was.
That's what I'm saying. He should be self-aware enough to realize he does look like everybody's, scary nightmare boogeyman. So
Right.
he should have established, again, the everyman mask that kept BTK, hidden for so long.
Right. Yeah, he
His
did.
eccentricities made him memorable.
Right. Yeah, and that is what I think sort of kicked him in the nuts was that, yeah, his behavior, his lack of, what I guess the best description would be lack of empathy just in his everyday movements made it more believable that, this is the guy, um
Now,
and had he been more thoughtful and more genius, um he might have gotten, didn't Anne Rule didn't pick up on Bundy. She made a whole career out of it.
I know I'm just waiting for my chance, y'all. Mo Rules, true crime authoress.
Oh.
I'm gonna talk to Oprah, y'all.
Well, and this was something that I brought to Mo because I wasn't sure if she had seen this yet, and we normally would be going through like the documents that led up to a lot of this part of the investigation. This is a very big summary and overhead look of what they put together from all those documents we've been reading, and it gives a good picture of an overall of why the arrest warrant was created and why they actually had zeroed in on him pretty quickly. In all honesty, this moved along very quick as far as, yeah, it's not going to be Law and Order where you find the guy,
Yeah.
who it is right almost off the bat. Now you've just got to get to prove it. And they already know who it
And
is at
these
the end.
things take time.
Yes.
Again, a judge, while the bar is lower for a probable cause affidavit to get a warrant, you still have to, a reasonable person, a reasonable judge who knows all of the, bullet points that you have to hit, all of the, statutes you have to hit. This is what they came up with, and a judge agreed with it. Now, you might not agree that this was enough, but this judge did.
Well, and you can also agree that it might be not enough to actually convict him, but it's enough evidence to make him a suspect. And it's not like they didn't have other suspects at the very beginning of this. Everybody was a suspect, and all the males in the house were a suspect. All of the people that were at that club, you had the grub truck owner, you had the bar owner, you had every single person was a suspect whenever it first started. They were able to hash those out pretty early. And all they have to do is just say, well, where were you at this point in time? And it's like, I was here, here, and here. And you can say, okay, you've got a perfect alibi. So with those alibis comes along, and and there were so many people that are just like, well, it had to be the grub truck driver. It's just like, what proof do you have of this? You don't know what the police know. So you're making this guess of it's got to be the grub truck driver or it's got to be the bartender. And then people go and ruin their lives because they don't have all the information. And it's not their job. There was a guy in the hoodie. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There was a guy in a
and
hoodie.
You've got to think that this search warrant is also dual purposed. This is also for protection of society. They suspect that he has done this gruesome thing. They think that, again, by all indications, they have a budding, serial killer. They have to get to him before he does another thing. Generally with serial killers, there's, an incident, a cooling off period, a sort of stalking or picking your next target, and then another murder. So that's usually one of the criterion for, becoming a serial killer, more than 3, a cooling off or cyclical pattern, usually a signature, something or other. Dude, I know way too much about this stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Listen,
But
my
that
mom shouldn't have read Ted Bundy's bedtime stories.
if I'll start, he's just here for the free boost. Well, and so
Same.
this is where so whenever I see people wanting to make their wild guesses on all this kind of stuff, and why, Mo and I decided to go through these as sort of with fresh eyes. It wasn't because we were trying to go after somebody else. We were trying to see what the police were actually looking at, what made them want to decide this, because this is information that the public wasn't aware of before he pled guilty, because
Yeah,
they
they
want to
were.
keep this thing quiet. Not that they don't want to show people, but it's sort of on a need to know. And this is where people feel that, well, you should be showing everything. Yeah, but you don't want to give your hand away and let the serial killer know that you're right hot on their tail.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was probably a delicate balancing act because every person, even Brian Kohberger at this point, is presumed innocent.
Right.
And, a government should be limited on what they can do to an innocent person without cause. And as much as, hindsight wants to say, gosh, I wish we'd have just pulled him off the street with no evidence, it's a slippery slope.
Right.
I don't like Brian Kohberger. I mean, beyond what I know right now, I didn't come in with an agenda,
No.
but the facts are all aligning. If I saw something that was hinky, I mean, I am looking into the Delphi case. I would be very clear with you that I think something's hinky. This seems like they are dotting all their, I's and crossing their T's.
Right. And that's all that I've been seeing throughout all of their investigation over the past couple of weeks that we've looked at this. It's just like, wow. I mean, they pretty much had the thoroughness that they were going through with all this was, and the questions that they ask is just like, we're looking for this vehicle, not accusing anybody of being the culprit. But if you find this white Elantra, and, come to us, come talk to us, and you can say, listen, that looks like my car, but I guarantee it's not mine because this is where mine was parked the whole time, or this is where I was at the whole time. I've got proof of it. Like I said, the alibis are coming out, and these things that we, that they're searching for is also so the community can sort of be aware of it. Not that they're
Yeah.
trying to alarm people. And it's a very delicate balance for
Yeah.
a government
And
agency to give out enough information that they can get what they need, but not giving out so much information that anybody's accused of it.
to quote Tommy Lee Jones, being Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black, a person is smart, people are stupid.
Yes, absolutely.
But another thing that I really think is illustrated by Kohberger is his blind spot. He never expected that the community was going to rally, that people were going to come forward and say, look, I don't know if it means anything, but I saw this guy in a hoodie, or, y'all said something about a white car and I on my own, because I do believe it was a security officer at the Washington State University that kind of on his own sort of
Yeah.
motivation, they had heard something about a white Hyundai and looked it up on his thing. So again,
Right.
Brian can't understand the emotional motivation, the absolute conviction that these acts were going to instill in other people, because he doesn't have that component.
Right.
So he doesn't understand that most normal people are going to be motivated to find him, to find this person.
Well, and it's also more than that. And I think about that. One of the reasons why I look up court cases like I do is for that same reason. It's and sometimes nothing comes of the kind of things that I look up. It's like I might hear something and I go, that rings a bell, and then I'll look up something, and it could be, especially with the stuff I've been covering lately, of looking something up and going, wow, that I'm seeing I'm seeing a pattern here, or I'm seeing the same thing, or somebody mentions somebody and I go, well, let me look into what this person is about. And and that's where I research, is like on the outskirts of that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's just in passing, and sometimes it's a complete dead end. I just go, okay, that's not even, why did I waste my time with that? And you know,
Well,
but
even in the short time that we've been covering things, I noticed that my perspective has changed because I'll be the first to admit I was one of the people that really was very critical of the roommate. Why didn't you call? Why didn't you do anything?
yes,
You know, and but reading her statement made me realize that I was looking at it from my, let's just say, a refined age, perspective of what I would do. And then I thought about what my daughter would do, in college. Again, this is the first time you're the one that's expected to go see what goes bump in the night. This is the first time that, you clutch whatever baseball bat, and go out and to try to do that when you don't feel well, you're intoxicated. Again, these were all things that I didn't take into account, and
right.
it's okay to change your perspective.
Well, and whenever I first saw the initial, you know, police being pulling him over and all of these other things, I was still like, I don't know if they've got the right guy. I mean, this could be a complete patsy. I was going, man, they could be after this guy and not even have the right person, and they're just harassing him. I mean, you can go back and look at the Kohberger stuff that I covered early on. I was just like, I mean, if he did do this, then, may he feel the pain of 1,000, torches, really small torches in very like specific spots of his body. But I was just like, okay, but I still don't know if they've got the right guy. I mean, he could be innocent. He could be guilty. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And I didn't sit there every single news article that came out about him, or every single hearing that came out about him, or anything like that, because I was wanting to come in, just like Mo said, I wanted to come in fresh and have like a clean slate and make up my mind. Usually you can make up your mind on these trials pretty quickly by the way that somebody's behaving, or by the way that somebody is presenting the case. And I go back to what was it? It was a case that I watched with the Sov Sit. I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. Doggone it. Slips my
Oh,
mind.
my Bob Ross. Shizzy, I have a case. I don't know if it's going to be streaming, but we have a pro se Bist, be assaultist. Basically, someone was getting evicted. This woman showed up in a bee suit and unleashed bees on all of the people, including deputies who were allergic. And she said, I'm glad. She like shook the beehive and let it out.
Oh,
Apparently, she's supposed to be in court. I am trying to find the local station if it's streaming, because it is like manna from heaven. I mean, it's
I
like
love
God
it.
heard my pleas for a trial based for me. And he was like,
It's the one.
I shall deliver.
Oh, oh my gosh. No, but it's one of those things where I like to come into a case and sort of see where to eat sushi. She turned 16. Well, congratulations. May want to stay off the road. Oh,
When I'm president, there will be a separate road, like side with mattress and that gravel stop stuff for trucks. And that will be a teenage highway. Because, God, I love my children, and I let them drive me, and I'm trying. They can tell I'm obviously nervous, but I'm trying to do like, it's cool. It's cool. I'm cool. I'm totally cool, and I'm selling it like this, like I am cool. I'm white knuckling things, but I'm cool. You're doing, oh no, the speed limit is not a suggestion. Thank you. Oh, that's how you brake. Well, that's interesting.
well, I got to teach two teenage boys how to drive a stick shift. That was fun.
Oh dear God.
But I was the only one that actually had a stick, and they were just like, we want to learn how to drive a stick shift. And it was just like, all right, I'll take you, but we're going to a parking lot where you can burn my clutch out and I don't have to worry about it getting hit by something.
And Tammy, thank you for being a member for 11 months. Thank you for supporting the Church of Mo, your favorite non-denominational worst Christian-led cult leader that won't sleep with your wife. Therefore, the best cult leader ever. Like, I have no designs on your wife. Not any. I don't even know if I can call myself a cult leader if I don't want to sleep with your wife.
I'm so disappointed in you, Mo. Cult leader without the sex.
Yeah, but is it really a cult if you're all introverts and you just live adjacent to each other?
No, they call that the internet.
Fair point. We have solved the mystery.
So what do you got coming up, Mo?
Let's see. Tomorrow I will be doing Mornings with Mo, and then I will be off the interwebs because I'm taking my daughter to college. So
that's got to be so exciting. I love it.
It's exciting. I guess every mom just prays as their kid, leaves the nest and takes those first steps into writing the, adventure story of their life, that the world will be kinder to them than it was to, kinder to their babies than it was to them. But unfortunately, knowing that they have to walk through, in every life, some rain must fall. And that's going to make them stronger, but you don't want them to have to do any of that, which is why I was hoping arranged marriage, or a convent, but apparently creative parenting like that is just not appreciated.
But I think that you giving the skills to your children to value themselves is really probably more important of it, and not being bad at it, like being good. Teaching them that they're valuable and to think for themselves, I think, is probably giving them a leg up. And they'll still run into those pitfalls, but I think they'll be better prepared for it than some of us were.
And I mean, honestly, this is just really exciting. I mean, for all this time, I've had a hand in this, and I'm glad that she's going to get to out of a small town and, where people don't know her, where she can, start a new chapter. But she is my quietest kid, and beyond loving her and everything and all that jazz, I'm like, I'm losing the quiet one.
Oh, well, you'll miss your baby. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bittersweet thing, but it's also, I'm really excited because I know that life is going to open up for her. And, if I gave her just a little advice, but I'm like, I know you're an inside cat. I get it. Inside is cool and it's not people-y. But if there's something that you're interested or curious about, don't let being introverted inside cat stop you from trying something. You never know what might be your interest. I never thought I was actually going to be streaming anything ever.
No.
So, sometimes the trips and falls that put you on an unexpected path can lead you to really good things.
And it will. It will. And I hope she learns from you, Mo. I think you did a good job.
Well, here's the problem with this. So she is tall, leggy, and though she wears mostly hoodies all winter, I swear, look, I'm not saying I want to go full burqa, but I think a burkini would be just fine. Because she comes out, swear to goodness, hoodie, like baggy clothes, and then we go to the pool and she pulls it off and I'm like, oh, hell no, Phoebe Katz from Ridgemont High. You will get back in that damn pool and put a t-shirt on. I'm like, when did you get boobs? Damn it.
Well, there's, and my like my wife said, she goes, I covered my body up whenever I was the hottest. She goes, now I wish I could go back and like like sort of show that stuff off.
So here's my proposal. God gives teenagers cellulite and stretch marks because they're not going to use their bodies for goodness. Now, when you get to be my age, you get to be married. Look, give us some abs and, thigh gap. I mean, we're married most of the time. Ain't nobody going to mess with us. This is just for our husband. And, although keep a little thigh gap, I don't want to fish my, phone out the toilet. So, God, could you give me enough thigh gap that it's visible, but I can still catch my iPhone? First world prayers. Hashtag first world prayers.
Oh. All right.
Well, you guys, so I will be doing mornings with Mo, but I won't be doing anything else. Now on Friday, we'll be doing the wrap up, and then I will be doing Shanda and Paul Ferguson, their verdict reading. It's going to be, so victim impact statements always suck super donkey balls. They just do.
Yes.
But it's also a way to honor the people that were lost or victimized or survived, and to carry the flame of the people that are grieving. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do when someone is going through hell is just sit there and be there as they're going through hell, not even saying words, just being there. So I feel like, when I do a snarky entire trial, there is some reverence to the, victim impact statements. And I will tell you that they are eloquent and moving, but also heartbreaking.
Yes. Agreed.
So we'll be doing that on Friday. I will be wearing my heifer ears, though. It's not going to be super, look, this heifer spent 2 goddamn hours talking about how she was hypo-fucking-glycemic. Now, all the while, mind you, and look, I don't complain much, but today Hagatha has just been a super cunt. But all the while I'm listening to this trial, I have got my entire left leg that feels like it has been frostbitten and twitching. And I don't say a GD word because it's just my life and I just, go through it. And doggone hypo-fucking-glycemic, I had to have a service dog because I was hypoglycemic. Spare me.
Yes, spare me. God bless. Yeah, and I'll be of course on with Mo Friday, and we'll do the FNL pre-stream on Friday.
Yes, we will.
Which is going to be really interesting because, well, I'll tell you about that later. But it'll be good. It'll be good. FNL pre-stream Friday, and I'll probably have a stream
may or may
Thursday.
not be unveiling his persona. Will he be a penguin or a llama, or is he a brony?
I could be a llama penguin, that likes the cold but spits at you.
A lamguin?
Or penga.
I like the penga, but it sounds kind of like it would be a mix between a pig and a kangaroo.
Could be too,
Or a panda kangaroo. Oh my God, that would be so cute.
Panda kangaroo. Oh,
A
wow.
a pandaroo.
Pandaroo. Do you think we could breed those? That would be really weird.
There's going to be a chow somewhere painted up like a kangaroo in China at a petting zoo of ill repute tomorrow.
Oh, it'll be shaved from the waist down. It'll be like a hairy kangaroo.
And they'll have a fanny pack on it.
Yes.
Miniature kangaroo. This is what it is.
The miniature kangaroo, they're very rare. They went extinct years and years ago, but we got one fresh from Japan.
We have covered stories. If you want to hang out on Friday, we find all the weird on the internet. We are basically looking to make each other snort, laugh, and or, choke on our drinks. I usually find things about your O-ring, which is really not my fault because New York Post seems to have a fetish. So I'm just saying that they keep making the stories.
Have you covered the lady with 2 vaginas yet?
No, but I covered butthole Botox called Holtox that helps with constipation and is also for fun. Now, would you believe that most of the fun clientele are men?
You think? I wonder why.
In a shock to no one. Well, you guys, we will see you later. Let me see who I can redirect you to because I pretend to be a professional on this stream.
I've
Baker's
never.
always like, Baker's always in the background when we're in chat because me and Valhalla are usually, well, thinking or wondering why glue doesn't stick to the bottle when it's glue. Um, and Baker's over here like, uh, yeah, what did you guys do? This, that, and the other. And did you redirect? And we're like, oh shit, no, wait a couple minutes before you close. I am sending you over to Megan Fox. Give her a big hello for us. Ask her about her hair, all the
Yes.
products she uses. And, you know,
Oh, and make sure that you call her Super Tits. I'll tell you
at
about
least
it later.
I trademarked Rack of Justice. Also, if you are good at graphics and would like to help with the, Lord Chippy Justice League, or Justice League member, or the Super Donkey Balls t-shirt, let me know.
Just don't put them on the back. Just don't put them on the back.
No, I was gonna put a picture of those hanging, clacking nads. I swear to God, look, okay, as an Appalachian American, as a hill chuck American, look, can we as hillbillies just give up the nutsack truck thing? Could we just stop? Look,
I mean, I can 3D print you some if you want.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not my jam, but I always find it hilarious, but I'm always like, this is why people don't trust rednecks.
I did a Christmas ornament that was a set of balls. It was for a friend of mine. He was just like, I need something that I can do for like a white elephant. I was like, I got something for you.
Oh my God.
Not only were they flesh colored, but they were very soft and squishy
Oh God. No.
and veiny. It was the best. It was the best.
Oh dear Lord.
It was,
Well, on that note, Christmas ornaments in, Shizzy's Etsy shop coming soon. All denominations, Jews and Gentiles.
bye, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, we're gonna put moss on them too. I'm imagining Team America when they gave him the beer.
Something wrong here.
All right, bye, you guys.
Bye, guys.